Derby County loanee Jerry Yates is set for another summer transfer, again away from Swansea City. Is it going to be permanent? Is it going to be a loan spell? We're not entirely sure right now, but it's going to be interesting to see what does happen. Now, usually I only make videos talking about Derby County links and things like that, but I felt it was important to talk about Jerry Yates, who a lot of people would like to see return to the club. Obviously, I know there's a lot of people who also wouldn't, but for me, I think Jerry Yates was a decent striker this year, and decent is about as far as I would go. Obviously, 14 goal contributions, 10 goals, 4 assists across the course of the season. Could have probably been closer to 15 goals this season, as well as probably 5, 6, maybe 7 assists. Had we scored the opportunities we'd created, especially a couple of the ones Jerry's missed this season, has been, in my opinion, horrific. Now, I really enjoy watching Jerry Yates. He's a player who is good with the ball at his feet. He works hard. You know he's going to give his all for the shirt. It doesn't matter what shirt he's wearing. You know he's going to work hard. And I think he did that a lot this season. And that's sort of what carried him through. And ultimately, I think he ended up with a ton of responsibility when obviously James Collins wasn't good enough. Dejan Brown wasn't quite ready. Obviously, you've then got Jorgen Selverson who comes in and then gets injured. It ends up with a lot of pressure on Jerry Yates' shoulder. And I actually think he got better in that circumstance. I think the main problem that we had was he's not a sole number 9. And I think we spent a lot of this summer playing as if he was like a target man. I say summer, this season, playing as if he was a target man, especially under Warne. And I don't quite think it works. Now, for Jerry Yates, he has impressed this season. And I think you can look at his season, 14 goal contributions in a very, very poor Derby County side. And I think you can go, there is some positives there and there's certainly some ability there. And that's what I think these clubs that are looking at Jerry Yates have seen. You look at the likes of Blackburn Rovers, Hull City, QPR, 3 clubs in the Championship who have seen what he's capable of. And I am surprised that Derby County's name isn't in the hat for this, if I'm completely honest. I'm surprised that Derby County haven't been named as sort of like the main team in this headline. But it's one of those for me where I'm not surprised in a sense. Obviously, when Eustace came in and looked at what Derby County have got, obviously, does he think Selverson's better than Yates? Obviously, we can't have that discussion right now because Selverson didn't really play. But in my opinion, I think there's better available for probably the same cost, whether it be foreign or domestic. And that's sort of a question that John Eustace sort of will have had to answer with his recruitment team and things like that. And I do believe personally that the fact that Derby aren't in this list means that they probably have other targets, which I'm ultimately not surprised about. And I've got tons of videos about targets coming out over the course of the next few months, obviously. And you look at the clubs that are interested in Blackburn Rovers are in a bit of a downward spiral since John Eustace left. Obviously just finished on the edge of the playoffs, but with Eustace there, would they have gone through to the playoffs? I personally believe so. Hull City just survived relegation and looking at sacking their manager doesn't really make sense for a move. It's a bit of a weird one. QPR, obviously, the absolute, like, the wheels fell off. Like, they completely fell off. But they were able to keep themselves just clear of relegation. And then there's a couple of MLS clubs interested in the signing of Yates as well. Now, for me, I don't really think any Derby County fan can have a bad word to say about Jerry Yates this season. I have to be completely honest. Don't get me wrong. Yes, he's missed some arguably sitters, right? Don't get me wrong. I completely understand where people are coming from when they talk about that. But I think if you look at some of the goals he's scored, some really, really important goals. He's scored some of like the second goal in a game for us where we go 2-0 up in a few games. But then obviously you've got the games where you look at like Pompey where he missed a sitter, Burnley where miscommunication meant that Clark heads it over when Yates was right behind him. I think there's been a couple of home games where he's missed sitters as well. And it is... I want to sort of advocate for Jerry Yates and talk about how I've really enjoyed him being at Derby County this season, but I do think it's hard to discuss because I think he's one of those players who really does split opinion. And I think when you look at a striker that's like Jerry Yates, in my opinion, I don't think we ever played him in sort of the setup that he really needed to play in. For me, he needed to be in sort of like a little and large. He does the running about, all the doggy work, and then just has a big, massive target man next to him who wins all the flicks that Yates runs onto and things like that. And Yates is sort of that third man in the attack. Like, you've got your winger and your striker will connect together, and then Yates makes that run into the box, and then you've got sort of those sort of situations. And I felt like he never really got the opportunity to play that for Derby. I feel like if he was to sort of move on to a team that plays in a two-striker set, I think it would certainly give him an opportunity to sort of show what he is actually properly capable of. Because I think if I remember rightly, when he was in Blackpool in a sort of a 4-4-2 type situation, I'm fairly sure he scored a fairly decent amount. Now, I'll just check up on his transfer market just to see if I am correct on that, but I'm fairly sure it was at Blackpool where he had his best goal scoring return, which was in a championship season, I do believe. Let's get the overall balance up and take a look. At 28 years old, you sort of got that conversation, haven't you? I don't want to do it like that. When was he at Blackpool? 2021 maybe? But he's a decent striker, isn't he? At the end of the day, Yates is a decent striker, and that's sort of the best way that you can put it. I think he's a very, very good player, and I think he's very good. In the Championship, 194 appearances, 41 goals, 12 assists. Now, that's not a brilliant record for a striker, is it, really? At the end of the day, in 352 senior games, he's scored 96 goals, 28 assists. It's not the greatest, it's also not awful. Scored 20 goals in League One for Blackpool at one point. So he's not an awful striker. He isn't an awful striker. He's okay. But at 28, they're probably going to want a couple of £1 million. I can't see Derby County wanting to spend that type of money and thinking it's a smart decision to spend that type of money. Now, you can obviously argue the toss down in the comments. I am intrigued to hear what you guys have to say about this, because Jerry Yates is one of those players who does split opinion. I've said that in a fair bit. He is a split opinion striker. Like, even in my family, he splits opinion. Where I sit season ticket wise, splits opinion in that area, because there's a lot of us that like him for how he plays, but there's a lot of us that are so frustrated in the fact that he's only scored 10 goals this year. Like, he should have had, what? In my opinion, I think he should have had 15 this year. And at XG-wise, I think it works out at about 12. But for me, I think he should have been on 15. Like, the sitter at Pompey, like, unbelievable. And I know for a fact there's some he's missed, like, directly in front of me at Pride Park in first halves that I've seen him miss it, and I've gone, how has he missed that? Now, it is difficult. It's difficult, really, to judge. I think the next season he'll end up at Blackburn, to be quite honest. I think that's a move that makes sense. But I can't see him coming back to Derby. I don't think the move back to Derby actually makes that much sense in regards for Derby to make the transfer. Now, obviously, if we do speak about, obviously, Derby strikers, we've only got Dejan Brown and Lars-Jørgen Selverson to complete next season as it stands today. Obviously, we've got loads of time, but it's one of those where you sort of have to open your eyes and go, is Yates that good that it's not worth trying to get someone else? And I personally don't believe he is. Now, obviously, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I will catch you in my next video, whatever that may be. It'll probably be transfer links from now until, obviously, the season starts. I'll do my best to sort of get some other sort of content out as well. And obviously, there'll be a video out within a couple of weeks talking about sort of where I want to take the channel for next season and what I sort of want to add to the channel over the course of that time period as well. So if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.